Hi, I'm Katie Palacios, instructional designer for San Diego Mesa College. Today, I want to share with you our In Practice at Mesa website, and I've brought some colleagues along to help me share this site with you. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kelly Spoon. I'm a math instructor at Mesa.
Hi, I'm Farah Smulovitz. I'm an art history professor at Mesa College and the Mesa College online faculty mentor.
Hi, I'm Tasha Frankie. I'm faculty in computer and information sciences at Mesa.
Hi, I'm Rachel Russell, and I am faculty in geographic information systems at Mesa.
Thank you all. I'm so happy to have your collaboration and your input on this project. Just so folks know, we're all members of the Mesa DE committee, and that's really where this project originated. So we kind of created this subgroup as part of the faculty inquiry group program, and we're able to work on this together. So it's been really nice to collaborate on this with online faculty. The goal of this site, as you can see on the homepage, is to support Mesa online faculty with examples and resources of effective online course design so that we can offer the best possible online courses to Mesa students. So that's our official goal. And then I'll let our colleagues chime in here with what they want to add to that. Anyone want to add?
I think In Practice is great because it makes clear how these rubrics, which can sometimes feel kind of abstract, can be used in practice. And I always love to see specifically what my colleagues are doing. I can look up examples from people from other schools and other states, but it means more to me when I can see an example from someone I know. So the In Practice site provides that.
Yeah, this is a one-stop shop, so to speak, that has a lot of examples of good online teaching and a place where you might find some inspiration for your own teaching.
One of the things that I like about it is no matter where you are in your journey for teaching online, there will be something for you. If you're just starting or you want to improve, there'll be things that you can, take some time to take a sense of pride in what you're already doing, but then find new ways or better ways to improve areas of your online course.
To kind of go off what Kara was saying, it's really nice that it's Mesa people. So if there's something that you see and you want to know a little bit more of the why or the how, it's nice that you're able to go and reach out to that person and just send them an email or stop by their office whenever we're back on campus to ask them a question about what it is they did on the In Practice site.
Okay, that is helpful input. Thank you very much. Let's maybe take a look at the site itself and talk about the rubrics because we've built this site around the rubrics. On the homepage, if you go to the rubric criteria and practices link, that will take you to the rubric criteria. There's also a link up in the corner. Either way, you'll find the rubric criteria that we've used to structure this site. Both the CVC course design rubric and the Peralta equity rubric, both of them are specific to online courses and both built by our California Community College colleagues. And so I think of these as really useful tools, like a blueprint, if you will, for what goes into an online course. And so that's why we've started this site, at least with those tools as the framework that we're using. So hopefully that helps. Who wants to chime in on the importance of those rubrics and how our colleagues might find them useful?
Online teaching can be really different looking than face-to-face teaching. And especially if you haven't taken an online course, it's hard to tell what a good course is. And so you can use this rubric to self-assess your course. And when you find some areas that need improvement or that you want to go from sort of the meeting expectations to exceeding expectations type of category, you can turn to the InDesign site for some examples and inspiration.
And most of us didn't take online classes in college. So when most of us, when we started teaching, we designed our courses based on the best courses we took, but we didn't have that experience with online teaching. So we need the rubrics even more, I think, in an online setting than we would for teaching in person.
And for me, having the rubric really let me prioritize like where I could really make the most gains in my class in terms of improving it for students to look through and say, oh, okay, here's one spot where I'm really not aligned with the rubric yet and I need to be working on.
One thing I like the way the site is designed and the rubrics are designed is that, like you were saying, Katie, it's a blueprint. So it's a place to break it down to seem a lot less overwhelming. So you can take it one step at a time. The examples on the website are folks that have been teaching online or spent a lot of time teaching online and developing their courses. So figure out something you like and try to incorporate one thing at a time. And as each semester, each couple months, you add something in, you're going to start working through the rubric.
And even if you have a lot of experience teaching online, this is a great place to find some new ideas and try them on and see how they fit for you and for your class.
I mean, when I started teaching online, or when I decided I was going to try teaching online, I reached out to people I knew who were teaching online and got asked to be put as a designer in their courses to see what their online courses looked like. And that's what I love about this is people who don't necessarily know who to contact, they have an entire website that's got examples from multiple disciplines and, you know, with guidelines on how to actually do these things in their own classes or what they should be aiming for.
Such good input, especially I love the idea of taking this one step at a time and using these as ideas to try on. Let's take a look at some of these. Let me dig into, for example, let's look at B1, pre-course contact. So for each one of these rubric criteria, we have language from the rubric itself. We have a little blurb on how to implement that criteria in your course, just kind of more generally. If there's something from the Canvas Commons that you can import and customize, we've linked to that here. Not all of those are going to have something that is importable. Maybe we'll grow that collection sometime in the future. We've got a section for additional resources, so where you can dig in further, specifically regarding this criteria. And then here's what we're talking about with the In Practice at Mesa section. So in the blue section for each of the criteria, in this case, it's the an overview video from Professor Lauren Wade, who is sharing her welcome letter that she uses for pre-course contact with students. We've also got several examples in this case across lots of disciplines of liquid syllabi that our Mesa colleagues are using to provide information to students outside of Canvas and before the course starts. So that's just one example of kind of what that would look like, what each of these criteria look like. It allows you to see kind of the nuances across instructors, which is what I like. The rubric, yes, has some, kind of abstract criteria on what to be included, but each of those nuances that faculty kind of take those and apply them in their own teaching in different ways. And so this provides a space to explore those. And as Tasha said, kind of try on some ideas that you might want to with your own online teaching. So what else is there to say about this rubric criteria?
I also think that, like many of our students, instructions without examples aren't helpful. So the rubric, just by itself, a list of things you should do, for me, it doesn't mean a lot. And so I really need to see the examples in order to be able to understand what I can do. Even if I don't use anything like that, just seeing them then can really help me develop a class more than looking at a rubric can.
Okay, so another way to use this site, and Tasha mentioned this before, is that idea of self-assessment. So one of the menu items under how to use the site is assess. I'm going to show you that now. Then I'll have our colleagues chime in. But really using this as a self-assessment tool and a tool for getting feedback from your peers about your online course as well. So we've created this formative feedback tool where you can, and this is just a Google Doc that with templates that you can copy. But basically it just adds structure, a self-assessment kind of activity around the rubric criteria, so that for each of the criteria, let me scroll through this a second, you can self-assess on A1, for example, and as many of these as you want, and really look for the examples or list your uncertainties or decide, what kind of revisions you could make to meet the criteria. We've also got that peer feedback form as well. Kelly, you wanted to say something about this?
Well, because I really liked that tool that we developed because it had a self-assessment feature, which allowed people to, a faculty member to look at their own site and sort of highlight what they thought they were doing well, maybe even put some suggestions for how they might improve the sections that they knew weren't necessarily aligned with the rubric yet. But then also had a place for, if they wanted to give it to a, an online faculty mentor or somebody else who's has some experience teaching online, they could get more ideas and more feedback. But I just feel like, to me, that's a really useful tool, not only in like, if I wanted to share with I can let somebody into my online course and have them evaluate me, but they don't know why I've chosen to do the things that I've done in my online course. And so being able to explain my thinking is useful.
Going on the explaining your thinking, it's also a helpful way for if someone is evaluating your online course, for you to use as maybe talking points in a course tour, or as you guide them through your online course, showing them all the things you've updated and changed, or how you're really considering all the things, or as many things as you can on the OER rubric or OAI rubric, and incorporating them into your course.
Yes, so Rachel, you mentioned evaluation. Another assessment tool on this page is our crosswalk. So what we did was this team, did our best at looking at how the faculty appraisal form criteria map to these rubric criteria. And so that's what we've presented in this section of the rubric. And I'm sure folks want to add more about this. So
some of those categories were obviously designed for face-to-face synchronous classes. And so the question is, how do you look at those categories and apply them to an online asynchronous course, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with teaching online when you're looking at someone else's course, or if you're new to online teaching, how do you figure out whether you've met that area? And so you can use the crosswalk to take a look at how those of us in this group have imagined that there's a correlation or correspondence, and what types of areas you might want to look at on the rubric.
And if you've done all the work to change something in your course, it's nice to have it acknowledged. So having it sort of spelled out for your evaluator is always helpful.
I will also get asked along those lines, Rachel, from evaluators, how to evaluate an online class. And so hopefully this crosswalk also becomes a resource for evaluators who are looking for, example practices, sample practices from Mesa colleagues that align to rubric criteria, that align to the faculty appraisal form. So it's our first shot with that, and it really is not meant to be an official evaluation document, obviously. This is built by, I think Tasha said, the imagination of these team members and how in our minds we see these two criteria forms kind of aligning. So hopefully it's a helpful resource for folks out there. Okay, the other element of this site that we haven't talked about yet is contributing. So we've already started collecting samples and practices from Mesa colleagues. We want to continue that. And so by the time you see this site, you will see a link to a form for contributing your own practices that are aligned to the rubric. So share with us what you're doing, or share with us something that you saw a colleague was doing, and we'll reach out to them and ask if we can include that practice in this site as well. That is what will make this even better, is once we have your examples and the examples from colleagues across the campus, to really share all the awesome things that are happening in our online classes at Mesa. Who else wants to say something about this?
I know that the rubric criteria look so different in different disciplines. And so I really like to be able to see across disciplines, how are people meeting these different, criterion in the rubric. And even if it's in a really different discipline than mine, a lot of times seeing that different translation of it gives me an idea that I never would have had. So I'm really hoping we get a lot of wide contributions from different disciplines for that reason.
I am hopeful for that too. Thank you, Cara, Tasha, Rachel, and Kelly for helping with this project. We hope that you enjoy In Practice and be in touch with us if you want to join in on making this even better. Bye for now.